lollipopping. Now, lollipopping is categorized into the training area, right? People say, oh, well, it's actually pruning. It's a pruning technique. It's not a training technique. Well, okay, let's just include it in the conversation. Whatever way you think about it, let's include it and let's talk about lollipopping. So, what is lollipopping and do you do it at all?
Oh, I love a clean leg. Oh, I love a clean leg. So lollipopping is taking the foliage from the bottom of the plant all the way up to the canopy, to where you would like your canopy to begin. And it's to help maximize the airflow inside. I always tease on our shows that I it's Friday night. Get your legs shaved, because that's another term for it, is shaving up the legs, shaving up the girls, to have that bottom area nice and clean. And there's you it helps with pests. It helps with airflow. So much. It's just a nice clean area.
And when do you typically do it?
Throughout the life, actually,
Yeah.
as much as I can, I will try and keep that center area as clean as possible. But right before flower, in that week or so, right before flower, is when I just strip those girls right up and give them a real good training session. And really, that's the key, is right before, about a week before flower, is to get all of this done, so then the plant has time to recover before it has to start focusing on creating those big, beautiful buds that we all want.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'll do it right before flipping the flower. Oftentimes, really, during stretch phase, the first 3 weeks, there still can be some growth down there. So I'm usually going in around, day 14 to 20, something like that, to where I'm doing another strip of the lowers. And it's not as much, right? I've done the bulk of the work before flipping the flower, but there is a little bit of cleanup that can still happen. And then as the plants continue on from there into flowering, you can get little buds that kind of form down on the lowers, and I'm usually plucking those off as well. And yeah, so I'm just like you. We're kind of doing a little bit throughout the whole cycle, really.
Yeah, I find it's just maintenance. If I'm in there and I'm seeing a spot that needs to be cleaned up, just take care of it now. It just saves you work later on, and then that energy is being focused to where we want it, to not where, when nobody wants to trim the larf, right? So, you get rid of it. Just get those big, beautiful flowers, and I mean, that's the goal. That's what we want.
Yeah, it definitely helps with the upper growth, that's for sure. And yeah, all the larf just ends up in my trim pile these days. I don't trim that anymore. I used to, but my standards have gotten a little bit higher since then. So ends up in my trim pile, or it could end up in a compost pile as well. So either or. Another thing that's kind of looped into a training category, but some people say, hey, no, it's pruning, is defoliation, right? What is defoliation, and when do you go about doing it?
Oh, defoliation is just getting rid of those big fan leaves that are covering up what you are trying to grow. You want to keep, like I said earlier, to try and keep a clean space and get that airflow. And if you have too many leaves on top of each other, you can get microclimates and get climates, excuse me, and moisture, and then you're opening yourself up to problems at that point. So just to keep that airflow is to defoliate, to get rid of the leaves that are going to be a problem later on. I like to defoliate, again, that right before flower. That's I give them a really big stripping, but I'm actually doing it throughout the whole grow. I'm trying to prevent those microclimates from showing up, and I've never had an issue with powdery mildew, thank goodness. But that's something because I live at a lake. There's a lot of moisture in the air, and we have a lot of foliage. There's a lot of green in the air, so it's something I try to prevent as much as possible. And defoliating, keeping a clean airflow canopy is the way to do it.
I'm just like you. Yeah, late veg, really, before flipping the flower, I'm doing pretty heavy defoliation, and then I do that flip, and then within the first 3 weeks, that stretch period, foliage is still continuing to grow. So oftentimes I am plucking off leaves, looking to pluck them off day 7, 14, 21. Those are roughly the days where I typically am just looking at the plant saying, hey, is there anything that needs to be removed at this point? Try to make sure there's airflow going through the canopy, making sure if there's stagnant spots within the canopy. That's a good area for pests to congregate, right? It's like,
yeah, we don't leave room for those pests to party. There's
right?
No partying in our tents.
And then sometimes what I'll do is, and it's genetic dependent, right? Because some strains are going to be more bushier than others. So sometimes I'm at day like 45 in flower, and I'm like, you know what? I can pluck off some leaves at this point and get some light to come more down into the canopy to touch some of those bud sites there. So that's kind of how I personally go about defoliation. Pretty similar to you.
Yeah, I like to go from the top as well. A lot of people look from the bottom up. But sometimes if you just put your head over top of the canopy and just pretend you're like the light looking down and think, okay, where can I get some area? And it could just be 1 or 2 leaves. That's all you need, and you've just maximized your growth.
This clip is brought to you by AC Infinity. Use discount code MrGrow at 15 to save on any of their products.